Hi, boys and girls. Today is day 4 of realistic rating, and I want to tell you that I am so happy. Wait, no, not happy. I am so proud. Oh, wait, not even proud. I want to use a better word than proud. I am so incredibly delighted about the way you guys are writing out there on your own. Wow, you guys are doing such a good job. And I want to remind you today that when we write, one way to make our stories even more interesting is to use fancy words. Not boring old plain words, but fancy words in our writing. That's what we do sometimes. It makes our work so much more exciting. You guys know this already, but in order to use fancy words, you have to be able to spell fancy words. Now, are you the kind of writer who says, I don't know how to spell delighted, so maybe I'll just say happy instead? No way, you would never do that. You would always take the challenge of spelling a fancy word. So I wanted to remind you, I've reminded you of this before, of ways to spell words. Now, before I do that, I want to just show you some of the words that I have seen you guys use in your writing, and you have sounded these words out. One word is excited. Instead of just saying, oh, they were happy to be there, you said, oh, they were excited about being there. I've seen that in your writing. And even the word thrilled. Oh my goodness. Worried and horrified. Not just like, oh, they didn't like it, but oh, they were horrified. Those are fancy words, and you guys have used all that you know about spelling to spell those words. So let's remind ourselves one more time how to spell words. The first thing we do is we say a word, slide it, we hear it, and we write it. Then we use all of our rainbow words that we already know. We can listen for words inside a word, like the word winter, enter. You know the word in, that's a rainbow word, winter. You also use words that you already know, like if you know the word art, then you could spell the word smart, smart, by using a word that you already know. Another thing we know to do is write it part by part. So right here, I'm writing the word crocodile, and I started with cur. I wrote that down, and then I wrote cur-ock. I wrote the next part. Croc-o, crocod, crocodile. Yeah, and you can write it part by part. Now, these next two are ones that I don't think we've gone over. One way to write a fancy word is to say it by syllables. By syllables. Remember when we were clapping words? Like the big word last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and a lot of people wrote teacher appreciation cards. Teacher. How many syllables in the word teacher? 2. Yeah, teacher. 2 syllables. So if I want to write teacher, I would say it part by part, and I would write it by syllables like this. T. How am I going to write that? T. And chur. Teacher. Now, actually, if I go back and sound this out, I would say teacher. I got to find out a way to make that E say E instead of eh. So I'm going to put an A with it because I know when two vowels are together, the first one does the talking and the second one does the walking. Teacher. So yeah, that's another way to sound out words and spell words. You guys, when you listen for syllables, though, you clap the syllables and write the sounds of each syllable. But one thing I don't know if I've ever told you is that each syllable is going to have a vowel in it. Yeah, each syllable has a vowel. Did you know that? I hope that you did. So here is the story that I am writing. And it's another story about Sally and Cheesy. I've decided to do lots of Sally and Cheesy stories. I forgot my pencil for just a second. And in this story, I was going to start by saying Sally was, and do you see how fast I did that? Because was is a sight word and I already know it. So I didn't even have to sound that out. Sally was, and I'm going to write excited. Excited. 3 syllables. So I'm going to write ek, and then I'm going to write sigh, I, and then I'm going to write ted, ed, excited. Sally was excited. I'm going to put an exclamation mark right there because excited is a big word. Now, when I look at this word again, I'm like, wait a minute. I know a letter that says the k sound that's just one letter. And I'm wondering if that would be better for right here. Do you guys know the letter that says the k sound? Yeah, it's X. X says the k sound. So I'm wondering if this word, because this word doesn't really look right to me. And I'm wondering if I used an X instead, if it would look better. So let me try it. Excited. You guys, that looks so much better. I'm going to cross this one out and I'm going to use this one because that looks more like the word excited. Sally was excited. And then my next line is going to say, she was splashing in the waves. And I already know how to write she because that is a sight word too. That's a rainbow word. And so is was. She was splashing. Now I want to write the word splashing. You guys, I can say that word part by part. Isn't that one way to spell a word, part by part? So instead of trying to write each letter, I can hear sounds of that word. Spl, spl, spl. What 3 sounds do you hear in spl for splashing? Spl. Yeah, spl. Spl, ash, ash. What's that going to be? Spl, ah. Oh yeah, you guys, you hear that vowel. Splash. What 2 letters make the sh sound? S-H, yeah. Splash. I'm doing it part by part, but guess what? Ing, splashing. You guys, I'm going to use a word that I know to do that very last because I know the word thing has the sound ing in it, and I know that the word sing has the sound ing in it. So I already know that the sound ing is ing. We use it on the end of a lot of words like jump-ing, sing-ing, ing, ing. She was splash-ing, ing. Yeah. So you guys, when you're writing today, don't back away from your fancy words. Use those fancy words in your writing. Just remember to use all that you know to spell those fancy words, okay? Today I want you to write on your stories that you've been writing. If you finish one, just start a new one because when you think you're done, you're just begun. And get a grown-up to read your stories today to see if they can read it. Now, If they can't read something, that just means that you need to go back to the ways to spell words chart and figure out how to spell your words a little better so that other people can read it. Because we want other people to read our stories. Totally. So how to spell words is in your classwork section under writing workshop if you need to look at the chart again. Happy writing, everybody.